Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing good. Thank you so much for stopping by. We have a first time reaction video. We're going to be checking out learning the Holocaust. Now, before I get into this, I know most of you will be like, why would you say you don't know anything about it? Now, the curriculum of Nigerian education has nothing to do with European. They only emphasize on national history, broader Africans, regional issues. They don't teach European issues, mostly. I've never heard about the Holocaust. A friend of mine actually drew my attention. Like, I just started this channel and I was telling my friends, this is what I want to do. And they were like, why not try this out? And you will see, because you are so interested in history. So this is a first time reaction video. This is the first time I'm going to be learning about this. I went to a public school in Nigeria, and public school mostly, they don't teach anything European. They just go to like very African, few of African countries, histories, and then some of Nigerian histories. You don't know anything about European cultures, and they don't even teach us. We are so oblivious when it comes to European issues. So this is the first time reaction video. Without further ado, let's dive right in.
In the first half of the 20th century, Germany was the preeminent intellectual and cultural capital of the world, and Jews were well-integrated citizens. The emergence of Nazism and its leader, Adolf Hitler, changed Europe and led to the greatest destruction that the Jewish people have ever faced: the Holocaust. During the 1920s and 1930s, despite continuing anti-Semitism and occasional pogroms, Jewish communities were a large component of European society. Cities, villages, and towns across Europe boasted significant Jewish populations. In Germany, Jews were leading academics, artists, and politicians, as well as teachers, doctors, farmers, and shopkeepers. During this time, a fringe political movement began gaining ground in Germany, promoting an extremely racist nationalism. They were called the National Socialist Workers' Party, or Nazis, and their leader was a man named Adolf Hitler. Anti-Semitism was foundational to their ideology. In his infamous book Mein Kampf, Hitler called the Jewish people a noxious bacillus that lives as a parasite in the body of other nations. "Once I really am in power," Hitler declared in 1922, "my first and foremost task will be the annihilation of the Jews." In spite of rising support, Hitler and the Nazis initially failed to gain much ground in German parliament. It was not until after the economic collapse of 1929 that the party began to gain real political power. Social turmoil and strife led to a polarized and unstable—
Wow. It's the fact that he was calling human beings parasite and he was going to take them out. That is first-hand hatred and racism, if you must say. That is what I think. Let's just dive in and continue.
Political climate, and very quickly the Nazi Party became the largest faction in the Reichstag. In January of 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. 1 month later, the Nazis claimed that a fire at the Reichstag was started by communists planning an insurrection and used the fear of a communist takeover to abolish constitutional protections. Shortly thereafter, Hitler was given the right to govern without the consent of Parliament, effectively establishing a Nazi dictatorship in Germany. On September 15, 1935, the Nazis passed a series of notoriously racist laws called the Nuremberg Laws, which stripped Jews of their German citizenship, removed all of their political rights, and legally institutionalized their persecution. Many Jews attempted to flee the country, though their options of where to go were very limited. In September of 1939, Germany invaded Poland, officially beginning World War II. In the wake of German military expansion, a campaign of mass murder was carried out on the Jewish population. In towns and villages occupied by the German army, German military and police units, the most infamous being the SS, were instructed to carry out a war of annihilation on the Jews. Nazi soldiers, often with the help of local collaborators, rounded up Jewish men, women, children, and the elderly, took them to mass graves, and shot them to death, murdering roughly 2 million Jews within just a few years. To separate and control the Jewish population, the Nazis forced Jews into ghettos, small areas of cities and towns that were walled off from the rest of society.
Oh my goodness. Even children were not spared. Like, how heartless can these people be? Children, what did they even know? Why would they even kill people like that? 2 million people because of what? Racism, hatred, or what? This is so disgusting.
In 1941, it became law that Jews were required to wear a Star of David to identify them at all times. Disease in the ghettos spread like wildfire, and starvation was rampant. In January of 1942, Nazi leadership and representatives from various government ministries met at what came to be known as the Wannsee Conference to coordinate their efforts toward the efficient annihilation of the Jewish people, known as the Final Solution. Deportations to the death camps became the Nazi regime's primary tactic of mass murder. Jews were sent in cattle cars to places like Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka, forced into chambers they were told were showers, and gassed to death. Some camps, such as the infamous Auschwitz-Birkenau complex, doubled as labor and death camps, where Jews were forced to work and were then sent to the gas chambers to be murdered. This assembly line of mass murder continued for years, with thousands of Jews murdered every day. In the midst of this mass murder and destruction, despite impossible odds and relentless brutality, many Jews resisted. In the ghettos and camps, prisoners carried out acts of sabotage, smuggled weapons, and organized uprisings. Some fled to the forests where they formed partisan units, bands of guerrilla fighters that often included both Jewish and non-Jewish fighters united against Nazism. These partisan units blew up trains, sabotaged Nazi operations, and fought head-to-head against German soldiers. Uprisings were waged in numerous ghettos, including in Krakow, Vilna, Bialystok, and Minsk. Spiritual resistance was also present throughout the ghettos and camps. Through observing holidays, studying Torah, upholding Jewish values, creating art, writing poetry, singing songs, spiritual resistors maintained dignity and upheld the strength of the human spirit even in the face of violent hatred, cruelty, and dehumanization. Throughout 1943 and 1944, the Nazis accelerated their genocidal plan. Ghettos were liquidated, and Jews from all corners of Nazi-occupied Europe were deported to death camps and murdered. Finally, in 1945, the Russian army reached and liberated Auschwitz. US forces crossed the Rhine, and by April, Berlin was surrounded. Hitler committed suicide, and Germany unconditionally surrendered to the Allies. By the end of the tragic war, roughly 6 million Jews and 5 million others, including Roma, Poles, homosexuals, the disabled, communists, and political dissidents, had been murdered by Nazis. Villages, cities, and towns throughout Europe that were once home to flourishing Jewish communities were now empty of them. Survivors of the concentration and death camps who tried to return home often found their property seized by their non-Jewish neighbors. With no recourse for reclaiming their homes or possessions, they became refugees, many ending up in displaced persons camps before moving on to form what have since become flourishing Jewish communities in the Americas and the land of Israel. The Holocaust was a brutal campaign of persecution and mass murder carried out by the Nazis and their collaborators in an effort to systematically annihilate the entire European Jewish population. The scale of death and destruction is unfathomable. But Jewish communities have since worked tirelessly to care for survivors, name the lost, build and strengthen Jewish life around the world, and educate younger generations about the horrors of the Holocaust, so that it never happens again.
Oh my goodness, no one should have ever even have to live through that or go through that. Why the hatred? Why the racism? Why kill children, gay, homosexual? Why kill so many people? Why? Who gave you the right to take the life that you did not create? Like, this is so painful. Like, I feel so angry. I feel so annoyed about our government, because why were we not taught this in school? Now I'm here just thinking as if I have to go back to school more to read history, because I have a BSc in mass communication. Even at that, I was not taught anything of Holocaust, any of this thing that I'm getting to know now. I'm learning this on this channel now, and it's just so terrifying. It's just so annoying. This is so barbaric. The most annoying part is the fact that the coward called Hitler committed suicide. They would have caught him and just dealt with him with the same medicine he used to deal with the Jewish people and the rest people that he has killed. I'm sure he killed black people too, but they were not mentioned in this video. It was just Jews and then the rest of the other people they mentioned. This is just so heartbreaking. This is just so hard. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so heartbroken. Like, people had to live through that. They will just take you and then they'll put you in a room. They will take them and put them in a room, and then they will just on gas and stuff like that, take them to like a mass grave, and then they will just shoot them. Women, men, children, everybody. This is so heartbroken. I don't even know what to say. If you know anything about this Holocaust, please drop it on the comment section. And if you want me to react to any other thing that has to do with this or slavery or whatever, any happenings around the world, do not forget to drop it on the comment section. If this is your first time, do not forget to click on the subscribe button before stepping out. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you in my next video.